Welcome to a new episode of Business Meets Life with amazing Ivan here. And as you guys know, I'm based in China. And finally, we have the first Latin American on the show here. But that Latin American, amazing Ivan, is not even in Colombia right now. But yes, he is in Finland, in Europe. So, Ivan, how is it like to come from sunny Colombia and now being in cold Finland?
Well, Janine, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. It's quite a pleasure. And yeah, it's been kind of a challenge because, well, it was not expected to be this kind of harmful winter here in Helsinki, but we are -15 with mm, uh, temperature sensation of -30. So it's hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's complex, especially with the sunlight, but it's been all right. People are warm, things are really nice, really calm down. So yeah, everything is completely perfect.
Nice. Okay, I'm happy to hear this. So I myself have lived in Helsinki, and I have to say, although it was only 3 months, I fell in love with the culture, with the people. So if anybody asked me to go back to Helsinki, to Finland, I would go immediately. Although most people would say, you're crazy, especially during winter time, like you are doing it right now.
Yeah, they have told me many times that because it's kind of a little bit greater in summertime. They told me, but at the end of the day, everything it's has been just amazing. The people
Mm.
are really sweet. People are really cool. There is not such thing like the cold, hard Finnish people now. Now the people that's really lovely, and that's a myth that I want to set apart now in this podcast because it's not real, that myth.
That's interesting. However, I kind of like had the experience that one of the key learnings I had was you have to do the first step because Finnish people they don't look to the right and to the left. And my key learning was really once I do the first step, they're so like warm-hearted, and compared to maybe some Northern Americans, they actually like if they say, "Hey, I'm gonna take you to tennis on Sunday," they're gonna stick to their word and they take you to tennis on Sunday. Like, what's your experience with the culture? Because I assume you must still have, or you had a culture shock when you arrived. How different is it to your culture?
Well, I think there is one cool thing about being a Latino, and is that we are really open up and easy conversation people. So we can just like start a conversation on an ease, and that's something that Finnish people appreciate. So it's quite good. It's quite easy to make and establish connections here in Finland with that kind of approach. If you're open to get the first approach, it's completely perfect and it's completely fine. Um, and yeah, one of the things is that people here keep their word, and it's really nice. In Latin America it's not that much like that,
Hmm.
because like in a bit could be in 1 month, in 1 week, in 3 days, and there is kind of absence of a specific time set up in Latin America. But here is if they said it's on Monday, it's on Monday. It's not the next 3 Mondays. It is this Monday. So that's kind of interesting and nice.
Yes, especially for us Germans, this is a huge cultural difference with some Latin American countries. Now, you are a global citizen on how I have met you. We started working on a project together recently, which is interesting. And I would love to know a little bit more about your marketing experience because I know you are a genius in marketing. I mean, you have already given me great advice, and it's just amazing to see what projects you have worked on already. So tell me a little bit more about how has it been for you to work on different marketing projects with different cultures?
Well, thank you very much. I don't consider myself like an expert or a genius in marketing.
He's humble
I have
now.
been quite. No, I have been able to work with many brands, many countries in Latin America, Central America, North America, Europe, and United Arab Emirates, and it's been amazing because every single culture, despite of all of the singularities, they all are into marketing things. And the marketing behaves quite similar in background, but it's in the outside of the marketing that kind of changes and appropriates uh, all of the cultural behaviors within the people. Some of the other person might say that it's opposite, but well, yeah, I think it's just like the cocoon that shells all of the marketing campaigns that changes towards every differences. And basically, yes, yes. I have came through digital, phygital, ATL, BTL, PR, many type of I don't know strategies in the kind of marketing overall 360 world. And the thing that I learned the most is that every single company, every single consumer, every single target, it's able to engage with any type of content. So this is not a battle about which has the best or the most creative thing. It's a battle of who uses the right channels and gives the audiences the real good content.
Now, tell me a little bit more on how was it for you to work with Chinese? Because I'm based in China, even if I'm German, and I know that you have done a lot of like global projects. You've worked a lot with North America, with Latin America, and now you are in Europe. So you've basically worked with the whole world, kind of. How is it like to work with my fellow Chinese?
Well, that was a huge shock. That was a huge shock, basically,
Why is that?
because well, I thought that Colombians were workaholic, but Chinese people are even worse. They just work and work and work, and it's impressive because yeah, one of the most important factors that working with Chinese people is that they are very numeric. They are just focused in the numbers that they're going to have, the revenue, the KPIs, the ROI. And in some of the brands, there are different types of ROIs. Like it is not just financial ROI; it is also awareness, engagement,
Hmm.
also conversion. All of the top funnel, all of the conversion funnel, can be a part of the ROI. But it's really really challenging to work with Chinese people, um, because they're really focused on the revenues and the ROI and the cost per click, cost per impact, cost per anything. So it's quite shock in a good way because I learned so many things about them. So it is nice, but I think that's the most kind of different thing.
Interesting. Yeah, good to know. Now talking about workaholic, I mean, I have a lot of friends, they have marketing agencies. I know that they work a lot, independent of culture, right? I mean, we've been speaking a lot about culture now. I think it's just the industry that it is expected of agencies to work nonstop. And I know that recently you have opened up and you have told me we started to speak a little bit about burnout. So I myself had two burnouts when I started my own company, or since I have started my own company 5 years ago now. And I remember when I worked at HP, also at HP in Finland, a lot of my colleagues, whether in sales or in other industries, I could name you like several hands of colleagues who had burnouts, independently of countries, independently of positions. I can tell you tons of my former clients who also had burnouts. And then actually, when I started my own company in China, I did not talk, like, I feel like nobody spoke about burnout here in China. And then nobody spoke about specifically about burnout and entrepreneurs. I mean, I came from the corporate world. Maybe I just didn't like hang out with the right people. Now, what's your story when it comes to burnout, or what is your perspective that you would like to share with us?
Sure. Well, I think that something that we all learned, especially in pandemics and with all of the coronavirus and things, is that life is way too good to spend it in just working 10, 12, 17 hours a day. That was my case. Um, and basically, burnouts have many factors to get into a burnout. It is not just like political reasons, because sometimes some governments are really more open to have a really good, nice work-life balance. Other governments are not. For example, in Colombia, it is not like that. I am just going to speak about my governments because of my government. Sorry, um, because of respectful reasons. So in Colombia, it is not usual to see that companies and government are really open to um, have a really good work and life balance. There's mostly work, and that's it. Um, the other factor is, of course, the pressure of ourselves. Sometimes we put too much pressure to have something, to grow up in some way, to reach the most. And at the end of the day, we could reach whatever we want, but the times can be different. So we might be avoiding to push ourselves in that kind of harmful way. So yes, the burnouts are really, really tricky, and sometimes we just want to escape with the burnout. Yeah, travel 1 week, 1 month, spend just 1 weekend completely out of technology, but that doesn't work because burnout is not build it up in a few time. It's build
Mm.
it up through months and months and months of going beyond the limits or pushing yourself too hard or not sleeping good or well. Sorry, not just don't have really good like food, eating times, proper food. Everything came and it just ended up in a burnout. So that's kind of what represents for me, and that's the reason why I'm in Finland, basically, escaping from a burnout.
Uh, First of all, thank you so much for opening up, for showing vulnerability. I mean, you are on a podcast, you know that it's going to be published in the Eastern and Western world, and it takes a lot of courage to just talk about it. And as a coach, as a trainer, of course, I believe that talking about it, exchanging with other like-minded people can also help. It could be part of the healing process. And especially in China, in that kind of culture compared to German culture, a lot of people just don't talk about it. And especially then, maybe if they eventually open up to, let's say, one on one, I mean, nobody would want to talk about it like publicly. In a lot of Asian countries, it could be like lose of face. And I'm now wondering, if you don't mind sharing, what were some of your specific symptoms that you had where you can say, okay, because of these symptoms, yes, it must be burnout? Because according to my research and my own experiences and stories from friends, burnout can look very different for different people. What was it like for
Yeah,
you that you knew, okay, I actually have burnout? It's not a cold or a virus.
yeah. Well, mm, everything started that when I well, a little bit of my story is that I love what I do. I enjoy working in marketing.
And you're really good at
So
it.
thank you very much. Yeah, this is my passion. I mean, I woke up, or I used to woke up like really excited about creating new things or thinking new campaigns, or I enjoyed that kind of roles. But by the time when started like so not enjoying anymore, like waking up and feeling like, oh, come on, I have this and this and this and this, and I don't want to do that. That was my first red flag of burnout.
Mm.
Because when you start to complaining about do things in your roles that you used to enjoy, that's a red flag. That's a red flag because you are losing your passion. You're losing the vibrancy of or the energy that you were putting into something, and it could be not for the same situation for everybody.
Yeah.
Because the good thing and I'm Latin. I'm Latino, so I'm extremely passionate about most of the things that I do. But there is something completely different in terms of how I do my job and how I work. So that was my first red flag when I said, okay, I need to stop. I need a break. Um, and I made a 1.5 month detox. I traveled and disconnected about everything, absolutely everything, and then came back to work. And when I came back, again, 3 days after I came back, same feeling, same bored, same thing that, oh my God, I have to stay awake for like 17, 15 hours. This is at 10 hours per day. It is exhausting. It is exhausting. And when things like that happen, I'm just saying, okay, I have to change my job because it's not working. It's not working, basically. Um, Also, your body is wise. Always listen to your body. Some pain in the back, some pain in some headaches. Headaches are not normal. Don't say that because most of the people said, "Oh no, it's just a normal headache." Oh no, it's just a migraine, but it's okay. Every time those so pass. No, it is not. It is not normal. So it's your body telling you something, as well as looking like a raccoon because you have these eye bags that are huge. It is not good. It's your body telling you something. So
So
that's
listen to
basically,
your body.
yeah, yeah. Listen to your body. Listen to your body, not to your mind, not just to your heart, but listen to your body.
Hmm. So some people say you need to change your job. Do you think it's literally just about changing the job or the company or the department, or do you think you need to change actually even like what you're doing and do a completely different job?
Well, it depends. It depends. For example, I changed my job. I had a burnout in March. I traveled in April. I got back in July and quit in April.
Hmm.
I started a new job in May and quit again in November. Well, in October, because same reason. I mean, if all of the companies are used to put so much pressure into their staff and into their crews and into their teams, well, nothing is going to change in that country. Nothing is going to change in that mindset. Or you start your own company, if it is possible, and do a burnout, but for a good, different reason, and push yourself to be the one company that doesn't burn out your staff. Or you just do what I do. I booked the first flight the far away I could find, and that was Finland. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I'm sorry for laughing. I'm like, yeah, why would you choose Finland? I mean, I love Finland, and we both agreed we love the culture and the people now, but most people haven't even heard about Finland.
Well, yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, most of the people they are confused it with Iceland, and in Latin America happens a lot. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
So why Finland? Because I looked like, if I want to establish myself in another country, I have to see if that country is good enough for avoiding or skipping that harmful spaces in the company. So basically, I searched which countries had the best work-life balance,
Mm.
and Finland was one of them. There are many other countries in whole Europe that are really good at that kind of sense.
Hmm.
Um, Sweden and Norway, even Germany are really good at it. Most of the places in Europe are really, really, really good at work-life balance. There
Hmm.
are exceptions to the rules, of course, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was the main reason basically. And studying. I mean, I'm a nerd and I love to study, and Finland have really good education system. So
Yes.
those were basically the reasons I ended up choosing Finland.
Hmm. Wow, thank you for sharing this. I mean, if you look at the happiness, the World Happiness Index, you would not think so, but actually the Nordic countries, well, you know now, but the Nordic countries are like the top ones that you have just mentioned. for happiness. Yes, I know that because of the darkness, there's people who commit suicide, but there's also this also is happening in other places. But the work life, no, the life quality, the education, the nature, and so on is really big. And I've even heard apparently Finland has double the amount of saunas than inhabitants.
Yes, yes, and and I was able to see that in real life. So yes, yes.
Are you sauna person or not yet?
No, not yet, because there's a really interesting tradition here that shocks me. But
What is
they came
it?
out of the sauna and then they dive into the frozen lake.
Yes.
So that's a no-no for Latino like me.
Not
So
not
yes,
yet, Ivan.
not yet. Okay, not yet, not yet. Maybe not yet. But yeah, basically saunas here are the thing. Every single house has, or every single home have one sauna, at least one sauna.
Hmm. Yes. Now, let's talk a little bit. I would like to ask you another question about the burnout, only because I'm just so happy that you have the courage to talk about it. And I just hope that the persons the people who are going to listen to this can get some of your courage, can get some of your techniques, your inspiration for either their friends or their families to talk about it, make it a topic, to rethink their own lives. And I'm wondering if you could do everything again, like how you started your career or where you worked, or maybe just like the way how you worked. And again, I want to say I understand it's the country, but I also understand it's that specific industry, which is just more challenging in the hours, the way you work compared to other industries. But if you could do it again, what would you do differently? Or would you do anything differently?
Well, that's kind of interesting because I wouldn't do anything different because that brings me here. So the stories that, or the path that we follow, bring us to where we are. So, but I think that I would be a little bit more strong in the boundaries towards the work, towards the things that were not fine, because of the passion that I feel about marketing and advertising.
Mhm.
Um, I just like, okay, it's fine, don't worry. Okay, it's perfect. Okay, I can work more. Okay, it's completely fine. Okay, I can have these more three projects, and that's final. But if I would have set boundaries a little bit more tough or strong way, um, I think that would might be able to avoid some situations that wasn't that pleasant. Um, and yeah, yeah. Also, always speak. Never choke yourself with the feelings or with that you are burning out. So
Mm. Yeah, and it's not about losing face, right? I mean, we're all humans, and I love how you mentioned setting boundaries. It's something I personally am still learning because the way how we work in China is so different from Germany, where we have the work-life balance and this is private life, this is work life. And in China, everything is mixed. We work nonstop, 24/7. Yeah, setting boundaries is not very easy. So even if you have your own company and your own boss, amazing. Ivan actually wrote 3 books. Wow. Tell us about these 3 books and why did you write 3 books?
well, basically, it's part of a different kind of burnout because you have burnouts when it's come or it comes from job or pressing, putting too much pressure in you. But the other books came out of a different kind of drain energy, and it was because I had a health issue
Mhm.
related with the burnout. So everything just changes, and that kind of broke a little bit of my mindset that I had. So that's the main reason of the first book, Broken Mind. So now it's a self-published book. It's just in Amazon, but I'm working towards being published by a really nice publishing house of the second book for the second book in London. So things are going well with that. I can't give so many details, but It's working out. It's working out. I mean, hopefully, but ending of this year, we will be able to have this book in most of the stores in the world. So I'm hoping that, actually, um, because the second book is the redemption of the first one. It is the when you get so low that all you see is darkness, and then you see the light, but still you have shadows in between the light and the darkness. Um, and the third one, it is still like one kind of self-improvement book. So far, it's just in Spanish. The other ones are in English, but the third one, I hope that it will be a really nice getting in or diving into the Hispanic market and then moving to the global market, because Hispanics are really getting bad situations with burnout and with the emotional thing. So, um, well, I think most of the world, but because I can relate a lot with many people and friends that I have in Colombia, so it's my kind of more close approach. So, but yeah. And basically, it started because a psychologist told me that. So it is not bad to have a psychologist. I mean, we all need one. We all need to be listened. That is another thing that I want to suggest to everybody. If you don't have a psychologist, get one. It's really good. And basically, she told me that I had to start writing all of the things, all of the mind things, and all of the everything that crosses my mind, good or bad or whatever. And it became a book. So that's it.
Wow, so interesting. Three books, and soon we will be able to read this, not just in Spanish, but English and worldwide. Good luck on this. This is very, very impressive. I remember my mom, she told me when I was young, she was saying, apparently in the USA, they say everybody who has a high opinion about themselves has at least one psychotherapist or psychologist. And a lot of people, they have several coaches, psychotherapists, and mentors, because it's a way of taking care of yourself. I have seen psychotherapists before too. So, and again, the coolest thing is that you are opening up. And we also have like these cliches that men, for example, don't want to talk about these topics. So again, you're another role model here in many ways, that you speak to us about these topics. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. And yeah, just I think that the paradigm, or I don't know, like the prejudgments of, oh, you're a man, you can't feel that. I mean, before, uh, I'm more a human than just a man. I mean, and as a human kind, we have feelings, we have thoughts, we have, um, you can call it heart, you can call it chemicals from your brain, you can call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
But all of these things affect us. And we can't just like skip the feeling and do a straight face to against the world and that's it, because that doesn't happen.
Mhm.
That is not good. You will end up like killing yourself or dying soon at the moment. So yeah, stop that stupid mindset that, oh, men can feel. Yeah, no, fuck it to that. And I'm sorry for the word, but yeah.
You put it straight to the point. Yes, thank you. Oh, now you're back. Let's talk a little bit about marketing. And again, thank you so much for opening up and sharing this topic with us. And I also liked how you said, hey, this bad thing happened to me, right? But you wouldn't do anything different because, well, we always say in positive intelligence, like this bad thing, it's not necessarily bad because you made something good out of it. It had to maybe happen if people believe in destiny. So I like that you see all the positive things inside that bad thing that basically happened. And let's talk about marketing. I'm so curious to hear more about like the work that you're so good at and so passionate about. And I got to see you work in action already. So tell me some of like your highlights and maybe the coolest campaigns or the coolest clients or like the coolest marketing thing that you have ever done. I'd love to hear this story.
Well, basically, I can't. Well, I'm not. going to say specific brands, but
Sure.
do campaigns. So one of the coolest things about marketing agencies is that everything is so dynamic. You could be making some advertise for kids a program or for video games or for mobile games, and then you switch into a retail company for beverages, and then you switch and create a whole new ice island, or you switch and create a whole revenue or a whole experience about some music festival or anything like that. So everything is just so different. You don't have the same brief twice, and you don't have the same needs twice, because at every single moment brands needs are different, um, target needs are different. And one of the coolest things about that is that you will be able to learn so many things about many different cultures, because at any single different marketing campaign you have to do a benchmark. Benchmarking is the best thing. So for me, that it's amazing. And the greatest campaigns that I have been is like, we had one campaign during COVID that it was completely focused on older people, to teach them how to use computers, to teach them how to use their phones, to teach them how to um, talk with their families via Zoom, via WhatsApp, via whatever. And everything came out because there was the most vulnerable population during the pandemics, because they was the first one to get locked down and the last one to be able to get off the street. So
Oh,
um, they spent the most time of the pandemic lockdown, completely isolated, you know, and it was really, really, really harmful for them. So we wanted to be with them and also teach them. So we gave them free yoga classes, we gave them free learning courses, we gave them some many free content, and it was interactive. So we were always like receiving kind of messages like, "Oh, thank you, I was feeling so lonely until this happened." So 3 times a week we were with them, and we spent 9 months, 3 days a week, be with them, be their company
wow.
during the pandemic. So I think that was one of the most, or the most lovely campaign that I have been able to be.
So meaningful. Wow.
Yeah, it was very, very beautiful. And we managed to reach more than 10% of the over 50 years old population in Colombia. So it was a very, very massive campaign. Even though they were not digital, they ended up connecting, or we ended up having more than 600,000 connections in the website.
Wow. Oh, over 10% of whole Colombia, of the over 50-year-old people that you have reached with that campaign. That
Yes,
is
we
impressive.
managed to do that with my whole team. It was a huge, amazing team, and many, many channels. And we were using radio, press, magazines, newspaper, TV, SMS, digital, many things.
Wow, that is impressive. And especially because this was such a meaningful thing during the COVID times. And I mean, we have all been through it. And wow, thank you so much for doing this. Chapeau. Now, let's look at the contrary of the coin. I'm wondering, I mean, this sounds so challenging because you said no campaign is the same. I mean, of course, you probably get some learnings from different campaigns, but if nothing ever repeats, it's not that you can really do it better, right? So what has been like maybe a campaign that you think like, oh, you really messed it up, or what was your learning, or why was it extremely bad? Because I assume there must like things probably also sometimes go south.
Yeah, things go wrong because there are many, many variables during making a marketing campaign, and usually campaigns that don't come out as expected for the clients, because, or there are very high expectation and low profile, low profit, sorry, low budget. very high expectation and low budget,
Mm.
or because so many times, not just clients but also co-workers and people around marketing are very subjective. So that's something that I really can't stand, or I
What do you mean
really
with
don't enjoy.
subjective? What does that mean that they're so subjective?
Yeah, for example, oh, I like the color pink, but the
Oh,
brand is black.
oh.
So if the brand is black, or if the audience love the black color, why are you going to put pink because it is your favorite color?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of subjective things.
I
That
see.
if that doesn't work, in marketing you have to be completely objective. Everything has to be a reason. Everything needs to obey to some behavior or some statistics or some research or something that was really into the the reality. Not
Mm-hmm.
about, oh, I think. No, it is not I think. It is that this data show us this and this. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where the marketing campaigns
Yeah.
fail.
So I think you've probably worked with a little bit of more like bigger brands or bigger companies. Now I'm an entrepreneur and now I have a small company and we also have listeners here who do not only work for the bigger companies. Do you have some advice for us? Like how can we make like meaningful marketing campaigns with small budget?
Well, if you have a really small budget, there is when the risk or go. I mean, you have to have
Risk or go.
some risk or go. Um, don't follow the path that the other brands. Don't follow the path of the brand that you want to be in a few years. You just have to go and step or try to step ahead of those with content, with strategy, with something that stands out the audiences. You know,
Mm.
because if you use the same jacket that everybody else in one concert will, you want to stand out, and that's the whole entrepreneurs and new companies, and there is more.
You were
Okay, don't worry.
basically saying just like step ahead and in the content and strategy and do it differently than everybody else.
Yeah, yeah, because if you do the same that the whole crowd, then you want to stand out. You have to go to the other side. You have to wear something different. You have to look different. You have to be different. And
Mm.
that is something that most of the people kind of don't understand about brand value as well. So your brand have to be different. Your signature have to be different. Not because of that has to be expensive, but it has to be completely different.
Mm.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Now, what is the best advice you have ever received? Whether it's about life advice or it's about business advice, marketing advice.
If it creates controversy, it's good.
Ooh, if it creates controversy, it's good.
Yes. And controversy doesn't mean harmful. That's something that people have to understand about those kind of concepts. Creating controversy, it's like creating a standing point that everybody start to speaking about that campaign in a good way. You know, controversial things are many people could love them, many other could hate them, but at
Yeah.
the end of the day, everybody knows it. So that is a really good selling point about
Mm.
doing controversy campaigns or controversial campaigns, you know. But that doesn't mean that you have to be harmful with anybody. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you have to mm, do some hate speech or nothing. Skip off the politics. Come on, yeah. Um, then that's where creativity or creative kind of mindset approach works, because you have to think outside of the average to create something controversial but not harmful.
Mm. Okay, so everybody here, if you start seeing me create new content that is controversial and so different from before, you know why. It's going to be his fault, but hopefully a good one.
Yeah, you can blame me. You can blame me. Don't worry.
Nice. So how can people connect with you, reach out to you, get in touch with you if they want to work with you together because you're just so amazing, as I can say from my own experience now?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, you can find me or on LinkedIn, Ivan Chavarro. I don't know if you don't know how to
We're
say.
going to write it down.
Just ask Janine. So yes, also yeah, you can find me on the social networks as well, and yeah, basically LinkedIn it's the one that works the most, and
Mhm.
you can find me there. I
Yeah.
always connected with it. So
Now, what are your last words that you want to share with our audience that is coming not just from China, from around the world?
well, I think that the last words is like life is too short, or life is really short to just stand behind a desk for the 90% of your lifetime. So don't do that. Don't do that. Even though we need sometimes or we want sometimes money, um, we survive and we enjoy with less that we expect or we think that we need. So things can go slow.
Thank you so much. I hope everybody has taken notes like I did. And if you like today's sharing with Ivan and myself, Janine Jakob, please send it to your friends, share it with your family, with your colleagues, inspire somebody else. This is like for free, but it doesn't mean it's not as impactful as paid content, right? So, again, I want to say, Ivan, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Finland here, for opening up, for showing vulnerability, for inspiring us and sharing amazing marketing content as well. Have a wonderful day. I see you in our next business meeting. And guys, take care.
Thank you very much. And yeah, thank for everybody who listens. And please keep on following Janine. It's an amazing person. And yeah, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.